Welcome, ForAllNerds. It's our podcast now. Obey us. This is Uncolored Page who's hosting it. My name's Mari.
I'm Stacy.
We're from the Geek Remix channel, and what's the deal today on the Colored Page?
Today we're going to be talking about LGBT representation in games and stuff like that. But first, could you introduce yourselves really quick? Tell them what you do and everything.
Oh, we make YouTube videos.
Yeah, so I think what he's asking is, like, what is our channel about?
Oh!
Not just, like, what your name is.
Well, the channel's about me, and my name is Mari. No! Our channel is about, among many things, trying to be inclusive as possible, but not trying too hard about it. I think we just think, how do we not exclude people with our language and our content?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
So we have always played games together, and then one day Mari was like, we should record this and put it on the internet, and we were both like, yeah, like, why not? And
well, I was working for a company that I don't even know if exists anymore, and they were game journalisms. And it was a bunch of dudes. Not saying all companies with all dudes is bad, but this particular company, they were kind of buttheads about women's and stuff. So I was like, I'm doing it my way. Stacy, let's go.
Yeah. And I think now we just try to play games that we enjoy, introduce people to some new stuff, or just, like, you know, it's like you want to, like, hang out with some people who are playing games and who are not going to, like, pop out with so many, you know, like,
Our number one, not our number one comment, but a comment we get a lot is, I'm just glad you don't say terrible things.
Yeah.
Rather than, I'm glad about the things you do say. Because apparently, I don't know who it is or what's going on. There's a lot of channels who just are, they're cool until they're not cool. I don't know who they're talking about.
Until somebody busts out with a slur.
Yeah, and they're like, ha-ha!
Yeah.
But I think most big channels are pretty chill these days, and the community has changed a lot in the last few years. So I want to give credit to GamerKind about that. So.
Mm-hmm.
That's good, yeah. I noticed, and yeah, that's a really low bar to set, but but I'm glad that there are people on the platform that can, like, be more inclusive of people of every background, trans people from the LGBT, things like that, and that's really, really good. I'm glad. I think it's safe to say that you guys have, like, surpassed whatever business Mari was working for before in, like, fame.
Yeah, I have.
So that's a really good payback.
Though as soon as our subscribers went past anything they ever did, I was just like,
all right,
victory.
Yeah.
And why do you guys, like, of course, this is kind of a really really easy question, but why do you guys think it's important for you to be inclusive?
I think to myself, people come home, they had a rough day, and they had to deal with whatever BS they have to deal with when they have to go out into the world, if they happen to be LGBT+. And it just happens that people will say shitty things without even thinking about it, and it just fucks you up. You come home, and you just want to relax. And that's what I try my best to have Geek Remix be. Sometimes I mess it up, as humans do, but that's the idea I have in my head.
Yeah. I kind of just think about, like, what would I want to see from another channel? And I try to be that. Because, like, I would, you know, there's nothing more disappointing than when you're listening to, like, a creator whose opinion you really value and who you really like, and they say something that's just like, wait, what? And then, you know, especially in a culture where people are, like, very prone to, like, double down rather than admit their mistakes. And so what I always try to keep in mind is, like, you know, because I've been called out on using language before, but I try really hard to, like, not get defensive and just be like, oh, that's something I didn't know, and I'm going to just change how I say things, because it takes me no effort to just, like, use a different word, you know?
No,
Yeah.
it totally makes sense because then it's also giving the example of, hey, you don't have to double down. You can just say, sorry, my bad. I didn't even know. I didn't realize. I didn't know. Thanks for telling me.
Yeah.
Some people are still going to be like, remember that time you said that? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And since then, I have realized I was wrong and I said I was sorry.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people get really tripped up on, like, when it comes to not saying stuff like that. Some people, they get almost, like, intimidated by, like, thinking that they can never make a mistake. So, like, why even try?
Mm-hmm.
And what I would hope that we show people is that, like, at some point you will make a mistake. The important thing is that, like, you consistently try to be better, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, because, like, mistakes will always happen. So it's, like, how you move forward from it that makes the real difference.
I also understand it can be a lot. It can take some emotional energy to constantly be listening to feedback. And sometimes when you feel like I'm really tired of, like, doing this, you don't have to, like, stop doing it forever. You could just take a break. Like, take a break off the internet or take a break from a certain website or whatever and then come back when
Are you talking
feel...
about Twitter?
Not
Twitter.com?
Just anything. Just reading comments or doing anything. It's not that reading comments or whatever is bad or whatever anyone is saying is wrong. And it's not bad to, like, give feedback. But sometimes you just gotta take a break and be like, I know nobody who is talking to me is wrong or trying to hurt me. But, like, I just need some time for me to just chill out and regenerate. And that's okay. And nobody is incorrect in that situation.
Yeah, that's really. I really liked what Stacy said a second ago about, like, knowing that you're going to make mistakes and, like, just accepting that. That's a really important thing to, I think, that people need to learn, because that's really good advice. But part of you guys' inclusivity is, like, playing games that include, like, LGBT people and stuff like that. And even, like, a bunch of indie games that people haven't even heard of. And why do you think LGBT representation in games is really important?
I think a lot of people think, well, there's not that many people who are LGBT plus in the world, so why even have them in games? On one hand, people cite this 20, 30-year-old thing where they're like, only 2% of people are gay. I'm like,
it's like 0.2%. Like, whatever the number is, it's so far off.
It's such a small number, and I think I've been hearing that exact same statistic ever since I was, like, 10. And I'm thinking, now that it's more okay to be gay, I'm pretty sure more people are out of the closet.
Yeah.
On top of the fact that it's okay to be bisexual, which I'm pretty sure literally everyone is, except for the people who are not, then it's fine. But that was being sarcastic. I don't think everybody in the world is bisexual.
Yeah.
I think what you're getting at, though, is that there's a lot of people that can fall into, like, that fluidity that more, and people don't always, you know.
But I think what's important is that even if, and I don't think it is, even if 2% of the population was LGBT plus, the value in it is having people be exposed and seeing that people, real people, are gay, lesbian, bisexual, trans, plus asexual, and all these things, because half of someone accepting that somebody can be different and still be a human being is just seeing somebody. Because I know growing up, I just saw trans women in Hawaii and I was like, okay, that's just how some people are. And then I'm not saying I never said anything stupid, but I never, like, thought terrible things about it. I just thought, okay, that's just how some people are. And I think a big reason why a lot of people end up having these extreme reactions to different types of people is because they've never seen anyone like that before. And so just seeing different types of people can make a big difference in how people treat each other.
Yeah. And I think that there's a lot about, there's something to be said for, like, normalizing almost, because I think part of the conversation that comes up with, like representation feeling like, oh, well, it's the token gay character, or, like, this, that, where people feel like it's always this like political thing. It's like, well, the reason it feels like that is because we're still in this phase of like where people haven't just accepted that characters are just existing in the world and that they actually reflect real people. You know, it's like you know what I mean?
Yeah, and on top of that, literally everything is political. Everything is political. Just the fact that you go, I've decided not to put anything political in this, makes it political. The thought of, I'm deciding not to put diversity in my game is a political choice because there's actually incentives to be, like, diverse.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I looked at a bunch of studies about how the growing market of gaming is a lot more diverse racially in gender and sexuality than people realize, and people want to sell to those different types of people. It's not like pandering. Well, it is pandering, actually.
Pandering in the good way, I guess.
But, like, all pandering is good or bad or whatever. But the fact that pandering exists means that there's a market to pander to.
Yeah.
So what's the problem? So, and then people say, well, it's pandering to gay people. I'm like, yeah, so what? Everything is pandering to male-female relationships a lot of the time. Like, every single movie has a romance side plot. Isn't that pandering?
Yeah.
So, I don't understand what the problem is.
Well, the reason that it feels that people call out pandering like that is because what they really mean is, this is pandering to somebody besides me. That's what it really means.
An argument I see, and I know this might seem like I'm straw manning, and I might actually be straw manning, is if I go on forums, they're like, every single movie today is starring a woman or whatever. It used to be, it starred like a cool guy, and I'm like, yeah, so they're pandering to people who want a woman instead of pandering to you. Mm-hmm. And I still feel like a lot of movies star men. Like Spider-Man. Wait, hold on a second. Like, all the movies still star men.
Well, look at Marvel. Like, pretty much all the Marvel movies
star dudes. But because Captain Marvel came out, regardless of how you feel about it, that's one movie.
Yeah.
And honestly,
literally one.
I think a lot of people who hate that movie didn't actually go see it because I watched it and I was genuinely expecting it to be like, listen up, men, it's over. Yeah. You're gonna die now.
Or for her to like be like waving a girl power flag or something.
I know. I just went to watch the movie and it was like 3 times it was like, you can't do that because you're a girl because she grew up in the 70s. And I was like, yeah, like that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
and then like at the end it wasn't I'm powerful because I'm a woman. It was I'm powerful because I'm human. And I was like, all right, I think everyone really exaggerated this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we are in this phase of people still trying to accept that LGBT representation is important to people. And that gets me to the point of, what do you think about the landscape of video games in particular in terms of LGBT representation?
I think it's gotten a lot better over the years. I think the few times it's given representation, people have been like, there's been 5. That's so many. And I'm like, it's not that many.
Yeah.
It's really not. And sometimes, there are companies, like with Assassin's Creed, where like, you can be canonically gay. And then in the DLC, they're like, just kidding. We lied. We lied. You have to have a bio baby. And then, but even though the premise of the original game was they got the DNA from a sword.
Yeah,
so you didn't have to.
Yeah.
You didn't have to have kids. Like, what are you talking about?
When I saw that, I knew that was really, really contrived. Why they didn't they didn't have to like give you a baby at all.
Yeah. I do really like the fact that we're starting to get to the point where like LGBT representation isn't just, like not that indie games are necessarily like not as good, but that they're starting to reach like more major representation and not just like the gay coded villain character, Yeah. So.
And that I really like that I noticed that a lot of gay characters are more people like say that it's being pushed in their faces, but I've noticed that a lot of gay characters have become just like are just there, and like they're not like pushed in anybody's face. Like I was playing Witcher 3 like a couple days ago, and I was in the middle of a quest, and there was a man that it was like little thing, but he just said that he was in a relationship with another man, and I was like, okay, and the game just continued, and it didn't make it a big point or anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool.
So it's interesting that you bring up something like that, because I think one of the arguments that people sometimes make is they're like, you get caught in this catch-22 between you don't want all LGBT representation to be a coming out story, right? You don't want their gayness to be like the plot for everything, and you know that can exist sometimes. You want it to feel more natural, like the situation that you're talking about, and then sometimes but you'll get people who are like, oh, but if they're just like offhandedly mentioning it, then you know why is it even important that they're LGBT plus, right?
Yeah.
And I always find that argument very frustrating, because it's like, well, the reason that somebody has to say I'm gay is because when straight is assumed to be the default, anything other than that has to be explicitly stated.
Mm-hmm.
And even if their sexuality is not central to their plot arc, it's still good to have it as an identifying characteristic. Like, and much in the same way that a straight person might say, like, oh, my husband or my wife or whatever, you can have an LGBT plus person just saying like a small thing that gives you this glimpse into their character, but it doesn't have to be like, oh, and now we're going to like read the diary that I wrote when I was 15 and discovering my feelings and you know.
Also, there's that issue with if they don't specifically say their sexuality, even if they're bisexual, people think bisexuality, that's just an on and off button. You can just switch it back and forth between gay and straight. Therefore, I don't have to deal with the fact that the character I played as romancing the opposite sex might be bisexual, because that makes me uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. I know there's a lot of people who often say you can choose their sexuality. They're not bisexual. It's that you can choose what their sexuality is. And oftentimes it's very frustrating for people who want to say, okay, this character's bisexual. I just see that as a pattern where if they make a character bisexual or canon bisexual or all the characters pansexual, it's automatically how you played the game is the canon sexualities for your playthrough, rather than accepting that in this world all those characters happen to be bisexual or pansexual or whatever you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Or however they were written. So it can be frustrating.
And we've talked about the pushback to representation a few times, and like how do you guys like react to that, and how do you guys like respond to that?
I think that representation is important. I've been noticing lately that I feel like sometimes people will never mind. I think representation is important. I just hope that people are more open to it as time goes on. I think things have gotten much better in recent years, and the community has gotten much better about accepting representation. But still, we have a long way to go.
Yeah. I think that part of it is also just like you know, obviously you still want to like push for progress, but to a certain point it's also it depends on like time, you know, like it takes time for people to like as a society to come around on certain issues. You know, you can't representation is obviously very important, and like I think that people should still keep like striving for like better representation of like LGBT folks, of women in games, of like people of color, all of that. And I hope that sooner rather than later people just start to see it, instead of it being as this like almost like fad that like diversity is like this like corporate like whatever trend, that it's just like, oh no, this is just like games getting better at reflecting the people that exist in the world that we live in. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to feel so foreign.
I think one thing that kind of bothers me is that when there are people from certain demographics who are speaking for themselves and saying, I want diversity for this thing. And it kind of bothers me when people who are not from that demographic kind of take over the conversation and they're like, yes, I agree. I think there should be diversity, but then at the same time, they kind of make the topic about them saying it instead of allowing people from that demographic to speak for themselves and giving those people the platform. And does that make sense?
Yeah, like talking over them?
Yeah, talking over them by being like, yes, I totally agree. Diversity should be a thing for your demographic. I am saying it. It's me. I'm saying it to you, instead of being like, here's the mic. You know?
Yeah.
And it really bothers me sometimes because when those people do that, sometimes they say things that nobody was actually saying, and then it kind of, it just, I don't know if it's making a huge negative impact, but it definitely bothers me, and I think it's frustrating.
Well, I think what people who want to, for instance, like help out members from other communities with things like discussions like that, I think what needs to happen is people need to get better at, instead of making you having the conversation for that other community, for you to kind of like grab someone, pull them up on the platform with you, hand them the microphone. You know what I mean? So rather than this person saying, I have this huge platform and therefore I'm going to speak on this topic that is not actually like about me, to say, hey, I'm going to give my platform to somebody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it just bothers me sometimes because I'll see people start a topic and then a bunch of people just start talking over them and then saying, oh, well, I know all about this topic and I'm going to talk over you or I'm going to correct you. And it's just like, dude, you're not even like, you never experienced that specific thing. Just let the person talk.
Yeah, like it's about them. Give them the soapbox.
Yeah. I don't want anyone to like feel bad. It's just a thing that I see like on Twitter and stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it just, I'm like, dude, let them talk.
Yeah, I do see that a lot too, actually. Right now, I think it's a really important time to talk about mental health due to some recent events. But how do you guys maintain your mental health? I know you guys talk about mental health a lot on your channel, and you talk about your own like mental illnesses and things like that. How do you guys maintain it as a creator?
Poorly.
That's pretty much what I was about.
I thought about this, and I have some tips for people who have resources and tips for people who don't have resources. Because I was like, oh, there might be people who don't have resources to go to. Mm-hmm. For me, I try to routinely go to therapy, and even though it's super slow and very difficult, I still try to go. And two, I try to take the medicine I'm given. Like, for example, I have a lot of anxiety, which I've been trying not to take my anti-anxiety too much lately because now I'm scared of being addicted to it. But just the fact of having a backup plan for my anxiety, just to have it there, is very helpful. Things for if you don't have resources are sunlight and exercise and getting off, like, you know how there's certain things that give you temporary relief, but if you keep going, you're like, okay, just a little bit more, but I still feel terrible. Just a little bit more, but I feel still terrible. Yeah. Maybe if I just watch one more episode of this anime, I'll feel better after this anime. At some point,
maybe if I just do another raid and WoW, then I'll feel better.
I'll feel better, but just at some point, just turn it off and go outside. Mm-hmm. And I understand, like, I have severe agoraphobia, but I've been trying to fight that by using whatever coping thing I have. Like, I have sunglasses, earplugs, headphones, my backup anti-anxiety, which I still need to get filled, and just other things that have me prepared for the worries I have about going outside. Mm-hmm. Where, like, okay, what if this thing happens? Okay, if this thing happens, it would probably suck. That's okay. and I can do this, and it's fine. If I go outside and I have explosive diarrhea, I guess I'll shit my pants, but I'll make it home and I'll be alive. You know?
Yeah.
So I have bipolar disorder, so that comes with a lot of like mood swings. I am sometimes not great at like I take medication for it, but like to a certain extent it's mostly about like just getting yourself through it more than like actually being able to quote unquote fix it. So like some coping mechanisms that I use, I can honestly say that listening to audiobooks like changed my life, because I used to get so much anxiety being out in the world, and just in general, like my headspace gets very loud sometimes, and music doesn't always interrupt it because you can still like think over the top of it, or with me a lot of music gets like tied to like memories, and so
Same, dude.
depending on what I'm listening to,
Music
like
only lasts 3 months.
it can just like really wreck my day. So I pretty much listen to audiobooks all the time, like whenever I'm doing chores, if I'm like walking to the train, if I'm at work and like doing a report that doesn't require me to be like listening to anything else. It helps me just to like have like a constant voice that's like soothing. That helps a ton. Like Mari mentioned, exercise also helps a lot. If people follow the channel, they might know that I exercise a lot, but I think that you can also get the benefits even from just like going for like a 20-minute walk. Like you don't have to like
just going for a walk outside.
Yeah,
you don't have to be
good.
as ripped as Stacy to be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when I'm like really having like a bad day, like I will just like go run around for a while, and like that really helps me like manage my energy level and moods. But I know that like depending on what your deal is, that might you can get the benefits even from like, even if you're like, wow, like I can't really like go walk around outside, like there are like exercises that you can do like inside if you just like kind of need to get your body moving, and like maybe start like a little slower too. So, and it just it helped me reframe kind of like the conversation in my head to like focus on this like oh, look at this cool thing that my body can do, wow, that's so neat. And it like started to become something that I like would really get excited about, as opposed to like constantly having these like obsessive thoughts, to be able to kind of like focus that somewhere else.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I think a lot of people take things like that for granted, like going outside, exercising. I think people get in their heads about it and don't like actually go do it and like see how much it affects their mental health to like be outside and exercise and actually like listen to audiobooks or listen to something that helps them.
Yeah.
Even something along the lines of sunlight or getting fresh air and just walking outside.
Drinking enough water.
I know that a lot of people have anxiety around exercise, and that's okay and that's valid. You can do things, anything that can be considered different from whatever it is that you're afraid of doing. Or I understand the fear of going outside into the world if you feel self-conscious, or even if you don't feel self-conscious, you think that you're just going to get attacked or something. But the benefit of just going for at first a 5-minute walk, and then a 10-minute walk, and then a 20-minute walk, and then a 30-minute walk. Going from 5 minutes to 30 minutes slowly over time can make a big difference. And that's something that people call exposure therapy if you're afraid of something. So you can do it just one tiny bit at a time. And if you think, oh, it's so stupid, I can only do 5 minutes, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because in 3 months, maybe you can do 10. And that's still progress. Even if you think your progress is really slow and not good, that doesn't matter. It's the matters that you made progress.
Yeah.
And that's what's important. And also remember to always give yourself credit for the progress you made instead of the progress you didn't make, because making yourself feel like shit about things that you didn't achieve is just going to make you more sad and make it harder for you to keep going and achieve more things.
Mm-hmm.
So try and focus on doing the things you have achieved rather than the things that you haven't achieved. Because literally everybody in the world has a mile-long list of things they have not achieved that they thought they would.
Yeah, and things that they wish they could have done.
But you have to focus on the achieved list. Even if you think that list is really small, if you focus on that list and try to do one small thing a day, soon that list will be long too.
Yeah. Also, really quick, I just did want to mention for people that are like, if you wanted to get into audiobooks and you're like, I don't have the resources to like spend money on them. So I use Audible for some books, like we're sponsored by Audible, but I also always recommend people check out Libby, which is a free app that you can download audiobooks or ebooks with your library card. So, I mean...
Could you spell that out so I could put it on the screen?
It's Libby. I found out about it earlier this year, and it's like completely, because it's like I read a lot of books, so like it can get expensive, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, holy crap! Like I can actually, get these from the library, and like supporting your library is, great, and then,
If you need a safe space outside of work, outside of your home, the library is a great place to be.
Yep.
They have free books, obviously. A lot of the times, free DVDs and movies and Blu-rays. They also have free video games sometimes. Well, free as in it's provided by taxpayers, and you should not feel bad about that. And they have computers with internet access. They have all kinds of things there. So if you are in a situation where you hate being at home and it gives you a lot of stress, the library can be a place that can be a safe place for you to relax and better yourself or amuse yourself or just hang out and chill out, because they have water there and bathrooms, and you can just be there and be safe. Or if you're just somebody who thinks, man, I wish I had somewhere to study or work outside of my house, go to your local library. Not all libraries have all of those resources, but most of them are going to allow you to hang out. Just hang out. Nobody expects you to do anything. You're just there to hang out.
Yeah, it's a quiet space. Sometimes there are video games. The one I used to live nearby, some people stole some of them, but oh well. People
Why even steal them? Oh, I guess to sell them, I guess.
Yeah, probably, or to like keep them forever. Well, they wouldn't need to actually. You can just hold on to it and give it back when you're done.
Exactly. It doesn't make any sense.
But yeah, read a book, go to somewhere safe, go somewhere quiet, walk outside.
It's a place that the library is a place that you can go, like, there, you can obviously go to coffee shops and do a lot of those things, but if you would like to be in a place where there's no expectation for you to buy anything, like some places they kind of may give you a hard time if you're hanging out there for a while and you're not actually a customer. Library, you don't even have to worry about it.
Coffee shops have basically tricked you into being a paid library with less things.
Yeah. They don't even have all the books. What?
They don't have free books or anything. So, and free Wi-Fi at the library, by the way.
Yeah.
So libraries have free Wi-Fi, free everything. And coffee shops are like, you have to buy a coffee. Great.
And you have to pay to eat.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, go somewhere safe. Walk to like the library or something like that. But yeah, go outside. There are vitamins in the sun. Go outside, please. That was a weird way to word that. There are vitamins in the sun.
But wear sunscreen. Unless you can't afford sunscreen, then just run from tree to tree.
Just go outside for a little bit.
Go outside for a little bit. Time it.
Yeah.
If you go beyond 5 minutes, you'll die. No.
You said
But-
run from tree to tree, and I immediately thought of like Tarzan or something.
Yeah.
You could do that also if you're fit enough. If you can do that.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, that sounds fun actually. But I'm gonna let you guys go. Thank you for joining me today for this interview. This has been really great, and you've dropped some really nice advice and information. But thank you guys for joining me. Tell them where they can find you.
You can find me at Geek Remix on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr.
And you can find me at Geek Remix a lot on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. Our channel is Geek Remix on YouTube. You can also find our podcasts at the Geek Remix Podcast.
You can also find us on Pornhub.
I know.
For real.
For real.
Geek_remix for our porn podcast. We're not physically in it. We're reviewing pornography.
Yeah.
So.
I've listened to that podcast a few times. Really high quality stuff, actually.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Really
If
good
you-
podcast.
You can get the audio podcast version of it on SoundCloud. For the video version,
If you don't want to have your eyeballs seared out of your skull.
we just did the latest episode with full video, and let me tell you, it's upsetting, and you'll regret watching it. So come find us.
You can listen to the sound version too.
But yes, the sound version is if you are anti-Pornhub, which is totally valid, and you're allowed to do that, then the sound version is Pornhub free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, high quality, super high quality stuff. I highly recommend these two. They're really entertaining Let's Plays, really informative videos, really good theories and stuff like that. And thank you guys for joining me, and thank you guys, the viewers, for watching.
Bye.
Bye.